Hello everybody, the Little Gamer here, and today we are giving Johnny Zest the life he deserves. This is the Create a Sim that I mentioned in my other video, and let's just dive right on in. So, as I've stated before, Johnny Zest, I have a fondness for him. He's one of those townies that you see and you're just like, oh, I love him. He's neat. Or, oh my god, it's him! You know, just, you get excited to see them. And by excited, I mean, you just get a little giddy. That's about it. Not too excited. You don't scream in joy, but it's never a bad day when you see Johnny Zest in town. Which is very odd, considering we rarely see him in town. But yes, I am giving Johnny Zest the life he deserves. I struggled with what I wanted to give him because I was thinking, okay, he's a comedian, he's a funny guy, he's probably going to like a lot of patterns and a lot of odd things, but after a little bit I decided that just, well, The Sims, while they've got a lot of funky pattern shirts and lots of, you know, colorful things, they just didn't feel like they were meant for Johnny Zest, and thus I struggled a tad. And I did use the jacket from Vampires and some pants from, I think, Get to Work? I don't know. And I went with trusty Converses because you can never go wrong with Converses. One of my pet peeves, though, is the fact that sometimes with townies, if you change them or their outfits and you go to change their hairstyles, every other outfit that you choose, they have the default hairstyle and sometimes even the default beards if they had any, and I'm not down for that. So I had to keep going and grabbing this hairstyle from Realm of Magic, and yeah, that sort of peeved me off. You'll see me fool with it quite a bit here in the next few minutes. Just do a bunch of switching through and changing the hairstyles. But see, I didn't really think what he had on for formal wear was too bad. I just made some minor changes. And by minor, I mean a lot. I did put him in a suit. I did think the suit fitted him quite well. But yeah, I thought about giving him slick back hair for like a split second, but decided that no, I wasn't. And now you see me going through the catalog, quickly changing the hair back to the hair that I wanted him to have, as opposed to the hair he had as a standard. But yeah, anyway, I have decided to give Johnny Zest the life he deserves. Later on, you will meet his husband and his daughter and their dog, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what I have changed for Johnny Zest's life. I did link him as related to the land grabs. I made him the son of the land grabs. I mean, in the land grab lore, it says that he's related to them and that he was disowned by them, and a lot of people seem to assume that means to assume that he's their son, but there's nothing in the lore or written story to suggest that he's actually their son. As far as we are aware, he could be a cousin or a sibling to Nancy or whatever, but I decided to make him their son just for simplicity's sake, because honestly, being a sibling to Nancy Landgrab has got to be absolute hell. But yeah, I also like to think that Jeffrey Landgrab doesn't really mind Johnny too much, and that if, like, Jeffrey is his dad, that Johnny's dad didn't really agree with just abandoning him and, you know, ignoring him. And basically just, you know, saying, oh, I'm not proud of you, so I'm just going to leave you, because he believed and agreed with, like, the majority of the world that that's shitty parenting. And, so I like to think that Johnny Zest has a pretty decent relationship with his father. It's not great, but it's not as bad as it is not as bad as the relationship he has with Nancy. or the relationship he has with Malcolm. Because, like, Malcolm, I think, absolutely idolized Um, I think he idolized Johnny to a certain point, and and when Johnny, quote unquote, let the family down and was, disowned, it sort of hurt Malcolm as well. It didn't make him feel happy about anything, and it was just a miserable affair all around. But as you can see here, I'm currently working on Johnny's husband because it is my own personal headcanon that Johnny Zest is not a straight man. I think he's capable of, no, words. Rephrasing. Let me rephrase. I do think that he does, have a certain romantic fondness for women, but he leans more towards men and non-binary individuals in the romance department. I also headcanon that, Johnny Zest is asexual. So he's asexual and, pan-romantic, which is exactly what I am. So there's not a straight bone in that boy's body. I also like to think that maybe Johnny is a bit curious about his gender identity. I mean, he's an adult. He's a young adult. He's not going to know who he is. In fact, some people never really know who they are. But I do believe that he is curious about his gender. He's he's probably I don't really feel like a guy, but I don't feel like a girl, but I also don't feel non-binary. Some days I feel, he's like, some days I do feel more masculine. He don't know. He's like, I'm just gonna use he, him, and maybe paint my nails, or wear feminine, or whatever the hell I want. He doesn't really know what label fits him in the gender department. And honestly, that's fine. If you don't know, if you're questioning your gender identity, if you're curious about that, if you're unsure, that is completely normal, and that is absolutely okay. There is nothing wrong with that. More power to you. But yes, the backstory I was thinking about for Johnny and his husband is they met at in Henford on Bagley, after after Johnny was abandoned by his parents. He decided that he would just take a break from the suburbs and also avoid the hustle and bustle of a city. He didn't feel like going to a city, and he could not stay in the suburbs for another moment, otherwise he'd lose his absolute shit. So he decided to go to Henford on Bagley because for a little vacation, because why not? Why not? It's the countryside, it's peaceful. Typically the people are nice, and I do mean typically. It depends on which country region you're at, because let me tell you, if you're in my region and it can be welcoming, but it can also be not welcoming. It really depends on where you're at. But hold on, let me get some water. I'm sorry. I am all over the place today. I woke up at 5 a.m. So, but yes, I like to think that they met in Henford on Bagley, and then they decided that they they met and they immediately hit it off, and they decided that they were meant for each other. And I think that's really romantic. I know it's romantic and soppy, and people are like, you can't just fall in love and marry a man you just met. But let me tell you, both in Disney and in The Sims, you can marry a man you just met 5 minutes ago. And honestly, it's wonderful. I mean, granted, at least in a couple of the games I've had so far, you can't just, make someone your girlfriend and then ask them to marry you, because I've actually had individuals decline proposals that state, we just met today, don't you think you're moving a bit too fast, which colored me impressed. Okay, I had never had that happen before. I think that came with an update, and if it happens again, I'll definitely post it on my Twitter. But yeah, but I like to think that they quickly fell in love, that they just connected. They were like, oh my god, it's the one. And they love each other. They absolutely love each other. So they got married. And then after like, well, a week in sim time, but like 2 months in real life. I mean, I haven't been doing this for 2 months, but you know what I mean. Like, say about 2, 3 months after being married, they're like, we want a baby. And so they decide to adopt because, two men, and not all men have the ability to carry children, and thus they decided to adopt. And they adopted little Pearl. Now, this is Pearl. You already saw her as an adult. You see that she looks absolutely adorable. I always do this when I make toddlers, is I make them as an adult or teen first, and I just edit their facial features so I know that they're going to look cute, or in a way that I will like, and then I turn them into toddlers, and just give them all these cute little outfits. I absolutely adore making toddlers. Okay, toddlers are some of my favorite Sims to create, because I adore children. They're so tiny and they're so cute, and honestly, I'm living for it. I too wish I were tiny and cute and could get away with just about anything. But now I am a 19-year-old woman and I can't get away with anything, and I'm not that cute anymore, so I can't just, smile at someone and not get yelled at. In fact, if I make any form of eye contact, I get yelled at. Customer service, am I right? Kidding. I don't have a job. I'm a disabled individual. I can't work. Because if I do, I lose my health insurance, and then I will die. And that's pretty negative. So we're just gonna moving forward. But yeah, as you can see, this is Pearl. This is their daughter Pearl. They adopted her. She is from Solani. That is where I'm going to say she's from. So she's definitely Polynesian. But I'm debating on creating her birth parents, because I think her dad was of, I think, either Jamaican descent. I don't know if I'm going to have him be Jamaican descent or African descended. I'm not sure. But I definitely know that her mom is going to be a person from a sim from Solani, and otherwise known as the Polynesian representation in the game. It's very little Polynesian representation, but at least it's there, But yes, I have decided that she will possibly be of African descent as well as Polynesian descent, and as she gets older she's going to have like a lot of questions about this, but right now she's itty bitty, she's tiny, she's a baby, and she's absolutely precious. I mean, look at her, she's absolutely cute with her cute little hair buns and the afro that I give her, because oh my god, natural hair of all kinds is just absolutely gorgeous. But yes, I like to think that once she gets older she's going to have a lot of questions. So she's probably going to be like, who am I? I mean, I've read a lot of things about adoptive children and children of color, especially having a lot of questions about their background, their DNA, their ancestry, they want to know who they are. And honestly, that is completely and utterly fair. I think every individual should have a right to that information. So she's going to be very curious about where she came from. And while there are a lot of adoptive parents that I have heard about, who are just like, it doesn't matter, we're your parents, we adopted you and we love you, why would you want to know anything? I think Johnny and his husband Joel, yes, that's his husband name, Joel, J&J, I like to think that they're going to encourage this and be very supportive of her when she does get to that stage. And I'm happy for them. They're a very happy family. Now, this is Lady. This is the dog. She's a greyhound. She's absolutely sweet. She's a very loyal dog. And Johnny actually found her behind a dumpster when he was, when he had to go and do a gig at Brindleton Bay, because we know he's a comedian. He's an awesome comedian. But he had to go do a gig at Brindleton Bay and joke around at a bar, and he found this sweet baby as a puppy, just about to turn into an adult, behind a dumpster, just all alone, abandoned by its mother, because, we don't know what happened to its mom. So, also knowing what it's like to be abandoned, Johnny took her in, and Pearl named her Lady because she had watched Lady and the Tramp, and yeah, that is basically a brief rundown of everything that happens. Anyway, we are getting to the end of this video, so if you have enjoyed my rambles or the video or this content, please like and subscribe, and please comment down below your thoughts. I will see you in the next video, and I hope you have a good day. Bye bye!